Welcome back to episode 3 of What If Civilization Started Over. This episode is going to be quite interesting, since in the last episode, well, major spoilers here, we kind of got an empire, first of its kind. So, we're going to see how that affects civilization as a whole. Because this empire is gonna kind of be like the Romans. So, we're gonna see how this ends up in today's episode. Now, one important thing I would like to mention is this episode's gonna take place about 10-20 years from the end of last episode. So, the world is adjusted, not fully though, to a new top leader. No one's really dared to move since they don't know how this empire is gonna behave. So the first event of this is actually gonna be some exploration. By, believe it or not, the Empire. I'm just going to be referring to the blue team as the Empire, for the simple fact is, well, it's the only Empire, and it's also the first one. But anyway, they're going to be exploring out here. They're going to be looking to see if there's any land in this desert. They follow down the Nile, and they also go around the Red Coast. They kind of discover, the remnants of the blue team. Was like, hello, we thought we destroyed you. What? Well, we're not gonna mess with you because, well, that's gonna be a little awkward, and our empire's already massive. But on the contradict, but them being kind of hypocritical, they're gonna expand into the Arabian Desert. Why? Really just to make the borders look nice. That looks a lot better, and, well, yeah, that looks a little bit better. Blue team is gonna be like, whoa, wait, whoa, why are you getting closer to us? So they and also with the rapidly inflating population, especially after the 10 years, they start expanding a lot. They inflate a lot and discover and take over a lot of this land. Although, they don't dare to try and border the Empire, because, well, they know how that ended up last time. The old Empire, after incorporating all of this, is like, okay, we literally need to calm down. We have so many different cultures in this empire, we need to calm down. We have literally most cultures in it besides this. The weird French team culture, which is just an offshoot of the red team culture, and the weird yellow team Exodus culture. Yeah. But, like, those are just... They're really small, and no one really ignores them. Speaking of the French teams, they're gonna be not expanding, but they're gonna be exploring. The Lime team is gonna explore furthermore down here along the Catalonian coast, or more specifically, the Spanish coast. Well, I guess that's opposite. They kind of cut across the mountains here and discover the Atlantic Ocean for, I think, the first time. They just discovered the Atlantic Ocean. They also discovered these islands. This more olively green, gonna explore more up here into central France. And the dark green one is gonna kind of explore into the Alps, although this isn't very realistic. Womp womp, I guess. They're also going to be expanding, so the Lime team So far, this one was the one ruled by the sister. This one seems a bit more popular. I wonder why. Maybe it has to do something with distance, but who knows? But they grow rapidly in population, and they have to expand, and they expand quite a lot. This olive green one that's kind of smushed in the middle, tries to kind of get out, tries to break out. And well, we're gonna actually have the first war between these three guys. Um, some troops move through here, and well, they didn't. They well, the darker green country didn't take that too well. And well, next thing you know, the capital's under siege, and they're like, "Dude, what the heck? Bro, what the heck? Why are you invading us? What did we do? Brother? Son, I think?" Um, so the military guys they have in here, that were actually captures this land and moves back to recapture the capital, but it doesn't go too well. They lose a lot of troops doing this, and well, they're gonna come to an understanding that, well, okay, this was a big mistake. Peace? And they're like, nah, we lost a lot of troops because of ya. We want this land now. And they're like, no. How about we just pay ya a lot of money? And they're like, okay, I can live with that. And so borders ultimately don't change, but this one is a whole lot richer, and this one's a little poor. This one's also kind of rich. They're doing a lot of trading with the purple team, which the purple team doesn't have a capital. Huh. Okay, well, let's fix that real quick. Their capital is gonna be in, well, Rome, or the Romish area. I am updating the city's map, like, after every episode, and the state's map, especially during this early time. Anyway, the Dark Green Country doesn't expand because, well, they just lost a whole lot of troops and whatnot. So, at this point, after that, that's like the first big event that's happened, and, well, these countries are realizing, wait, we should expand, right? Our countries are crippled. Especially these three countries. Especially all of them that got invaded in the last episode, besides the purple team. Purple team, probably, like, looking back, they're like, okay, we got out real lucky. But at this point, all of them are like, okay, well, we're crippled. The Empire seems to be pretty peaceful, so we're gonna do a little bit expanding, you know? So the Lime team starts going around the Caspian Sea, and they take a lot of this land. So the general idea of exodism, as I'm gonna call it, is really popular because, especially right after the invasion of the Red Team, no one knew what they were gonna do. So a lot of countries, a lot of people went to, like, this yellow team, the blue team, the French countries, these guys. Even some people went to the gold team because they don't want to be part of this. They don't know what's happening. After their invasion, they kind of went a bit isolationist. For the simple fact they had to focus in and make sure, you know, all these cultures don't crumple the empire from within. And they're doing a surprisingly good well. They're integrating these cultures quite well. It is, in the inside, they are doing very well. They are surprisingly people-friendly. One of the first of their times. Their technology is rapidly growing. But because they're so isolationist, well, no one on the outside really knows that. They're, besides maybe this mint team country, no one really knows what's going on. So, they've also disbanded a lot of their military, since keeping a military is very expensive, and especially because they are not planning to expand much more, because especially after this latest expansion, you know. But back to what I was saying with these countries, they're gonna be expanding. They're gonna try and expand since they don't know what's happening inside the not the orange team, the Empire, and so they're gonna try and expand now when the Empire seems, well, peaceful. Because they just, like, 20 years ago, they did what most people thought was impossible. So, I kind of understand them with them wanting to expand outwards. Expansion, am I right, boys? But they're expanding a lot. These countries are taking their opportunity and, well, running with it. Especially those purple teams. They expand quite a lot. Okay, even reaching down Arabian coast, and even entering into the Arabian Peninsula. Now, why would you do that when you're trying to get away from the threat? I don't know. They just kind of felt like it. It was land for the taking, so. Next country to expand is going to be the Stark Red team. The Stark Red team. They got a lot of migrants from the Red team over here, so they expand a lot around the northern Caspian Sea. Yeah. They even explore a little bit out more. They explore more around the Aerial Sea, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that if I'm wrong, just let me know. At this point, the world looks something like this. We got the big boy. We got Southern Italy, Northern Italy, 3 French boys, 2 Caspian Sea countries, Indian team, and a bunch of small boys. Speaking of the small boys, especially over here, they're gonna be exploring a lot of their local region, especially the Swedish country. They're gonna be exploring a lot of Sweden, making their way around this bay, around Finland, explore a lot of Finland. And they start expanding into Finland. Not into Finland, but more into Sweden. They colonize up here into around this Gulf, and they kind of become Sweden. The Danish country, they explore more into Germany and along the Dutch coast. They discover the coastlines of Dutch, and move furthermore into Germany, into central Germany. To be honest, I don't know where the Alpines are. They're somewhere over here, so we're gonna be ignoring geography here. They're gonna be exploring into the mountains with nothing on them, so they explore more and more into Europe. Furthermore into Europe. The Danish country is obviously gonna expand because they're getting an influx of population. Gonna take all these islands, but Sweden's like, I want the little bit of that island, so they're like, fine, take a bit of the island. And they move in more around Germany and even into the Dutch. This little Kaliningrad country right here, they're gonna be expanding along the Lithuanian and maybe a bit to the Latvian coast, and also meet up with the Danish country. That voice crack. The red team, they're not going to be doing. They're mostly isolationist, and they actually lose some territory because their population decreased so much that they can't hold on to this. Their economy is kind of crippled. Let me go into states here so I can. So they have to let go of this state, this state, and this state because they just can't hold on to it. No one's living up here, and well, they can't get. I'm still gonna keep the state on the map because I'm not removing states. I don't feel like it. So there's just gonna be some random states there. We are gonna refine this border a little bit. There you go. That looks better, I guess. At this point, people realize, okay, maybe the old empire isn't gonna be as bad as we thought, you know? Well, they're gonna be on the move again. What are they gonna be doing? They're gonna be colonizing more land, of course, because, well, when you have the biggest empire on the planet, you can do basically anything. So they expand over here. Although they're definitely hurting, you know? They're definitely hurting. They just like people in, you know, there's one department in this government where it's like, bro, we can't expand. But like we could do a little bit more, right? Everybody's like, yeah, right. I'm not gonna be a civil war. Not in the empire. In the small, poor little guy right there. This little country right here. The citizens of this country are unhappy because, like, they've gone bullied. This area's been bullied by the blue team, and they're like, enough is enough. Revolution! Down with the government, you know. So, these states are going to break away. These states are especially unhappy with the government. These aren't full. One state was kind of divided in half, and, well, as you can see, the revolution's already kind of won. Unfortunately for this team, they can't. Their military is crippled. They kind of disbanded their militaries, just like pity. So, yeah. The other half of the country, though, they're not gonna have as good as a time as the new rebellion. They can't hold on. They lost their capital. I don't think they have any other major cities. And, well, it just collapses. And it is partition between the surrounding countries. AKA, I mean by partition, the rebellion gets the rest of this. State, and the blue team gets the rest. And as you can see, that partition is, well, not very fair. Purple team got a little bit of land, and wow, the rest goes to the blue team because, you know, blue team can't really stop this. The purple team definitely can't do anything about this. And, you know, they're being kind of nice since, you know, this little land is a bit vengeful, so, some peace land's immediately gonna go on the expansion. The leader of the purple team is very charismatic. He convinces a lot of people from, like, the red team, even some border countries from here, especially from the old land, from the purple team, from the old mint team to come over here and, well, fight for the government, build a shore, retake the homeland, and, well, yeah. This country is actually going to also join an alliance. You thought I forgot about the alliance. There's only one alliance currently. So, and, yeah. Because these countries are also kind of vengeful in a way. Not to the degree that the purple team is, let me tell you. But they're definitely vengeful. At this point, the red team is crumbling. Even with things having to let go of a few states, the government is unable to do much. It doesn't even have a capital, apparently. Yeah. They aren't able to rebuild, and what's gonna happen is, well, you're about to see. So how the red team works is it's kind of an early form of democracy, but they have, well, states and stuff, but clusters of these states come together and they kind of decide what's best for their region. They kind of report back to things. They're not elected, they're just kind of whoever's the most powerful in the area. Now what we're seeing here is 4 rebellious groups. One being the Farmers Union, a farmers' outskirts kind of people. They're mad because, wow, they got states taken away from their region. So they want to reclaim these states. These people, the dark purple people, want to join up with, well, the purple team. And they want to, they're kind of aligned with them, and they want to rejoin. And they want to reclaim all the red team's territory. Even if that means going to, well, once a red team rebellion. These people over here, they just don't like them, and these two people just don't like how the government was working. So, now the government can't fight back against this. They start losing a lot of land very rapidly, especially to these people. The farmer-like people are like, take a bit of land, but not much. These people, they don't take a lot. These people don't take a lot. And eventually it's decided, alright, let's just divide this between the three. So, it's gonna look something like this. As you can see here, the red team is severely dismantled. And look at the map, wait a minute. Where's the weird pink team rebellion? The pink team rebellion turned into the now red team. They were definitely more original government, and they just took charge of the government. So, yeah, that's what happened to the pink team, and as you can see here, the brown team take all this. There's the formation of a few more states. They did recapture their states up here, and the purple team did even do it. And the purple team did take the land they took. And that's gonna end this episode of the Wisco series. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good jazz. Appreciate it. Just to say it, this video was heavily inspired by the Aegis Pro YouTube channel. Check them out. It's the original series of the channel. You know what I was been for the last few episodes, so I realized it didn't add capitals. Well, you'll see capitals at the end of the next episode, eh? So, have a good day.